Let me start first. If you, like me, have at least worked 20 or 30 years in Hong Kong educational sector, you will have a profound feeling about change. First of all, since the 1990s, we have made a series of educational reforms that involved not only curriculum, teaching, but also evaluation, even management. So, today, I think teachers who teach in school will get used to what is a teacher professional development. They will go to prepare lessons together. There are even class observations and class exchanges, etc. I recall if I was in my 20s and 30s, it was not the same. So this is the first kind of change. The second change, now I think every school, there are at least a few so-called plans on hand, whether it is teaching plan or plans for improvement in schools. The driving force behind those plans, of course, are government and traditional universities. But more importantly today, you will see more and more charitable organizations or funds, sponsorship. So today, we are very happy to invite Beishan Tang and the D.H. Chen Foundation and the two teachers abroad to share with us what's the significance of the foundation's participation in Hong Kong education. First of all, maybe shall I invite you first, Lilian? At first, everyone knew that Beishan Tang was doing Chinese arts. Can you share with us how Beishan Tang went from art to positive education that everyone is familiar with now? Thank you, Mr. Tang. Indeed, many people know our work in traditional Chinese art and promoting Chinese culture. In fact, since 2000, we have been trying to give back to the Hong Kong education community in a various way, hoping to make Hong Kong run farther and more sustainable as an education community. The reason why we choose the topic of well-being is that we believe everyone here is as concerned about the future of our young people as we are. Everyone is rethinking education must start from the needs of students. The pain points Beishan Tang saw at that time was the data of PISA that the students in Hong Kong had good academic achievements, but their life satisfaction was far lower than that of many countries in the world, including why they were so afraid of failure and their ability to resist depression was relatively low. So, Beishan Tang has always believed that academic achievement and well-being should be equally valued. And even Dr. Hammond just said that the social-emotional learning is a pathway of academic performance improvement. So the two are not the so-called mutually exclusive. So we are also very convinced that every student can actually live a prosperous life, and we have been committed to promoting positive education in Hong Kong since 2014, which is our original intention. Maybe we will soon tell you that we are all lucky. We don't have to start from scratch to find a solution. In 2008, our chairman knew Geelong Grammar School in Australia. It is also the first school in the world to use the whole school approach to promote positive education. We knew that GGS in 2008. In fact, they just started the positive education journey. They invited the UPenn professor Martin Seligman It took a year to practice in school as a team. In about 6 years, in nearly 2013, they have completed the so-called journey of learn it, live it, teach it, and embed it. This successful case has given us great inspiration. Of course, we also hope that we can bring these kinds of learning to Hong Kong so that our students in Hong Kong can have a better chance without losing at the starting line and enable them at every stage of life. Back to Hong Kong. In fact, in 2013 and 2014, you may remember that number of cases of suicide among students in Hong Kong is on the rise. This also makes us feel that we can't wait any longer. Professor Chu also said, take action, right? Don't wait any longer. We boosted our courage and to find GES and also the professors and the talented schools of 2 universities in Hong Kong and try to take root in Hong Kong. It seems a very foreign concept, but we try to take this concept root in Hong Kong. Thank you, Lillian. Peter, how do you work this way? Thank you, Mr. Tong. And hello, everyone. To take up Lillian's question, we are talking about positive education. I would like to recall that the foundation has a history of more than 15 years in Hong Kong. It has always attached great importance to education. And I believe we all agree that the future of Hong Kong and the future of the world is actually young people. They are a very important shareholder or stakeholder. In the past, the foundation has always been a rather passive player. That is, when we received some invitations, whether it is a school project or a project in the community, we would take it. And in the past years, and we also think the education is very important. So we have to find out this method to make breakthroughs. I would also like to echo positive education from Lillian. So actually, foundation, and we always think empathy is very important. So it's always about people in a society. I think it is a value that foundation holds all the way. And this is about the value of a compassion. It is how to be happy and joyful with the students when he is happy, and how to walk with him when the student is sad, in pain, and even pull out of this pain, and create a new imagination or a new breakthroughs. Thank you very much, Peter. In fact, when it comes to education, it's all about people in a society. That is, students, parents, school principals, teachers. I would like to ask you, among all these stakeholders, why do you focus on the role of teachers? Peter first. Okay, if you ask me, I will definitely choose teacher. When I record my own study time, in fact, when I encountered many difficulties, and the teachers can change this situation and to help a student in a situation and help the student to face the situation. Foundation also think the same. We regard the teacher as the most important partner. We feel that teacher brings about a really big change. Of course, he can influence the students in the class. He can also influence his peers. A class of teachers, when we go through some difficulties, together, there is a teacher can very determined to take a first step. I believe this will bring a great impact. We will feel that the teacher's ripple effect is very powerful. The compassion for students. The first thing is that teacher has to experience the compassion. So the foundation, both in terms of resources and in terms of the nurturing, and will provide the teachers with those kind of help. And the students in the classroom will also be influenced. Thank you, Peter. What about Lily? I couldn't agree more with Peter. Beishan attaches great importance to teachers. And the teacher is the most important partner and the most crucial change agent in the process of transformation. Echoing Peter saying, I have also been influenced by teachers in my own life. He helped me to go out and find some new motivations. It's not that he taught me anything, but he helped me to see my potential where I needed most, and told me that I could do it. This mission of the teacher to influence lives with lives is so powerful. So our challenge today is how can we better equip our teachers? Starting with the first pioneer team at Beishan, our team has many people and colleagues here today, and we are trying to integrate the theory and the practice. And how to integrate the Hong Kong scenario into it. The first step is definitely the training by the teacher. I did not speak training, I did not speak the word, but I think it's more important. It's more important to help teachers to find the original heart or the original intention. Many times our teachers come to what we call training, and we let them to reflect that what's the aim of education. And actually, this is about the heart-set change. In addition, many people mentioned today, there are a lot of challenges, and the teachers don't have enough space. And of course, we have to emphasize teachers' well-being. And we have let them to feel the happiness. And according to our humble observation, and when the things happened, and the teacher and the embed will naturally occur. So that's why we place the emphasis on teach it and live it. That's the part of teach and embed it. And the rest of the part will be dedicated and assigned to experts to make the magic happen. Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to ask Stephanie, at the beginning, how do you know a positive education? And you have worked with the colleague of Beishan. So, any change to your thought brought by positive education? Well, it was a few years ago that our school had the opportunity to participate in an outreach training program with positive educational elements for the whole grade. And after the outreach, the students changed to another group of people and they become more confident. And our colleagues think it's like a magic. It's very good, and they wanted to learn more. But at that time, the positive education was not very popular, so we searched the resources by ourselves, and we met Beishan. We are very lucky that some colleagues can participate in the positive education cycle, and they found me to join their organizations and to participate in some positive education resources. Yes. So you are very lucky. So actually, there are a lot of growth in the positive education. So how do you bring this kind of experience and to more people in your school? I think first of all, Beishan Tang gave a lot of reflection to me. I recognize the seriousness of their attitude towards to the positive education, and the positive education influences the students' life, and every word in the PowerPoint is very clear, and they wanted us to learn accurately and learn well. In addition, they also pay more attention to the scientific theories. It's not only copy the series copies or copying other informations and to their PowerPoints, and they combine the theories and the practice and brought those theories to us and to our peer teachers. Therefore, I have to know how to promote positive education in school and what kind of growth the students will gain from this perspective. And they think the group of people, only the group of people can provide a better environment to students. So in the research circle, I also meet a lot of colleagues and friends. We share our difficulties and thoughts, and we can cluster different thoughts to solve the problem. And Beishan Tang help us to promote the positive education to the whole school. Okay, so what kind of methods you use to promote positive education? So actually, this is not about method. It's about the influence from life to life. Actually, I'm not good at talking, but I saw my own advantages, and those advantages are seen by other colleagues. And also, and this kind of a strength was also recognized by other people, and we impart those kind of power to our students. We empower our students, and we encourage colleagues to share the experience of failures and the success. And the principles are very good. They also let us develop our own teachings improvements. So how many years do you promote positive education? It's about 6 years. I think it must be effective. So would you like to briefly share some stories. Maybe those stories are from teachers or from students. And there may be some changes brought by the positive education. I prepared. Actually, I remembered a teacher shared in an activity, and she said, the time has already been changed, whether I can use the traditional way to teach students, whether this is the best way to teach students. And this colleague, this teacher is already in her retiring age, but she still spends time to learn and to cultivate the students. So this is very touching and also encouraging for us. Another story I would like to share with you. About 10 years ago, a student told me, "Teacher, you are so enthusiastic. Perhaps it's better for you to go to another school, and you don't need to live in this school and to teach us because we are rubbish students." And this student has already become a teacher today, and she listens to the positive education and wants to promote the positive education to her school. And he met me last week and wrote a message to me. And she said, "You always pursue changes in education, and this is a very strong motivation for me as well. And I hope that my teaching will be a reward to your passion and your enthusiasm in teaching. And I hope my passion will be the birthday gift to you. Happy birthday." Okay, this is a very touching story. Brian, I know that you joined FEIA, Future Education in Action, in Chen Foundation. So would you please briefly introduce it to all of us? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tang. Good afternoon. When I heard Ms. Tao's sharing, I was very touching, and I think the happiest thing is to see the growth of the students. I would also like to share the stories of teachers and the students on the change. And the first one is about the student who likes the photography. And another teacher is fond of writing. So the two teachers form a team, and they form a team for the wedding photography for elderlies. And they also bring the students to listen to the stories of the elderlies, and also teach the photography for those seniors, and even do the makeups for those seniors. And some people prepare these wedding gowns for those seniors, and they took pictures for them. And another teacher likes this snorkeling, and the students heard the idea, and they are very exciting, and they formed a kind of a story, formed this kind of activity in ocean. This is about the snorkeling. And the students are very excited about the activity. So actually, the teachers just leveraged their strengths and used their strengths and promote their teachings in those activities. So it's not a fitting concept. You know that students have their own dreams, and the teachers have their dreams too, and we just match their dreams together. And in the previous sharing, we heard compassion. And we would also like to know from the teacher's perspective what kind of need they, what the teachers needs, and they need to communicate the needs with others. It's a kind of influence between lives, and we also have different stories. So we just start from the empathy. So actually, it's not you required them to do those things. It's they like to do something. Yes. So for the past 20 years, and we observed a lot of changes, and some people think it's very hard, and there are a lot of projects, and there will be new projects. So if you receive those complaints, how do you deal with the problems? Yes, and there are a lot of projects. But this one is very special. As mentioned by Peter, we have to have this compassion to the teachers. And first of all, is not to increase the salaries of our teachers. And the first concept of it is the concept of a reduction. So many people regard the projects as an adding of workload. But this time, we reduce the workload of teachers and let the teachers have more room to develop. I think the room and the space are the most important thing for teachers. If they don't have the time, the room, they cannot learn. So the resources of our foundation for the recent years and emphasize a lot on the room and the time of teachers. And another partner, a colleague, is called Zhao Yansheng, and we also expand our visions, and we use design thinking to restart and help students rethink their need and design the course accordingly. And when the teachers can develop their own strengths, and those kind of plans are in a very good operation. And this plan is in its third year. There are a lot of changes. The biggest one is the change on the teachers. And teachers' relationship with students become better, and the students' growth is better. And second change is about the core value. For example, the wedding photography for seniors, and this is also compassion or the caring to the seniors. And the second year, maybe we can design an animal team, and those is for the caring for the abandoned animals. So in this progress, it's all about the concept behind. So you always need to change the courses. Yes. I think the biggest problem or the biggest difficulty we need to resolve is a change, because the scenarios are changing. But in terms of the attitude and the mindset of our teachers, we need to maintain the fearless feelings, and we need to find the solutions. So, can I understand it this way? If you encourage the teachers to do the things they like, or develop their own strengths in the program, and they won't have any complaints in those projects, even the workload is added. Yes, correct. Because the most encouraging part is the growth of the students. As long as the students are growing, And this is the original intention of all teachers and the teaching. Last but not least, I have a question here. We invest a lot of time and money into our projects, and we look forward to good result. And then we will mention sustainability. We don't like the fireworks or the projects. This is a short-term projects. We don't like that. And we hope the effect of the projects can be lasted for a long time. So from the front line teacher's perspective, the results and the change happened. And how do we keep the good results and the change happened? Yidan? I think this is a very complicated issue. Maybe if we talk it for 3 days and we won't draw any conclusion. For me, and we think, I am willing to work with the students forever, but with the limited resources, we want to have a wider range of the projects. And of course, if you have different funds, it's better. But the well-being, it cannot be fundamentally changed by 1 or 2 teachers. So the only thing we can do is on the cultural level of the whole school, or the atmosphere of the school, and each student, each principal and the teacher of the school, or even every people of the community embed this kind of concept and regard it as a mission. Of course, in different communities, people have different perspectives and there are also constraints, so it's not easy to meet all the needs. And in Beishan, in the process of different projects, I like my colleague Anthony's saying, and how to build scenarios in the school, and there is no cookie cutter or one size solution, but one-size solution. But I think there will be better method. And the research capability is not only for assessment. And it's kind of an exchange and intervention. And we like to collect the different data and to make evidence-based decision-making and development. And for myself, I firmly believed that the most important thing in a school is the sustainability, and how to keep the sustainability is the visible change on students, is to maintain the visible change on students. So as long as I see the confidence in students, and this is the most important and the precious part in the school's development and the students' growth. We always talk about system change. We hope that under the Beishan town's resources, we want to cluster the similar people and make a better connection and to build an ecosystem. And this is my hope, so that each people and each party can encourage each other. And I think one day we can exit successfully. In addition, in this kind of diversity, and how do we share the successful examples or case studies or the touching stories to other schools and help them to find the courage in this environment with huge uncertainties. So I think this is the statistics. And from 2014, we introduced the positive education in Hong Kong, and the strategic priority, actually, positive education was only about 10%. But we just conducted the scan in September, and nowadays, and 16% of the primary school and 40% of the middle school include positive education in its strategic planning. So we think this is a big encouragement for all of us, and we also look forward to work further with our colleagues and the school colleagues. So I think there are two key words. One is a collaboration, and the second is a partnership. What about Peter? I heard about the culture and the background, and many people recalled what kind of things influenced themselves for a long time. I think must be the different values. So when Mr. Tong talked about sustainability, I think maybe it's not about the program itself or what the things we did. I think the most important part is the values or the touching stories or memories. And we also heard the touching stories from our speakers. If we share those stories to ordinary people, to the students or even ordinary people, and this there must be the memory remained in their mind. We think we are not only rely on the figures. Of course, some figures will reflect some phenomenon, but I think the more important thing in education is innovation, and we have to analyze successful elements in the innovation or even the failure elements. If we, from the learning perspective, there is no failure in any projects, and there is no failed projects. So it's very important for us to regard sustainability. In addition, and the belief of foundation is the trust and the respect. I'm very happy that Lillian and I, and also there are different foundations, and we have formed our own network, and we are proactively sharing our experience and knowledge in the network. And those knowledge are a very effective way for us to learn in the educational sector, and it's good for the knowledge inheritance and promotion. In addition, we also think the relationship or connection with the schools are sustainable. If we become partners, this kind of a partnership is very solid, and we received solid support. When I discussed with our colleagues, and foundation has wide connections in social service and commercial service, and those kind of connections can have influence on the schools, and there are a lot of aspects can be sustainable. So a lot of aspects can be sustainable, and in the projects can sustain for more than 2 to 3 years. So Brian, would you like to add something? Yes, I quite agree with Mike because we want to create and build the school culture by ourselves. And this is also from the bottom to the top. If we can start from the teachers and then let the management to support those policies, and the projects will become very successful. And our team is expanded, and we form a learning community, and we also have this concept of compassion, and we emphasize different demands of the students on this regard. Actually, the growth of the teachers cannot be taken away when the projects ended. And I will continue the things I learned in the projects in my future works. I think this is very definite. In addition, I also hope that foundation can provide more resources to the schools other than money. For example, a network is also important. This network can help our school to develop further. And the third year of our school, the foundation help us to do this kind of projects, and they bring our teachers to different places and to broaden their vision. I think this is a very helpful activity for our teachers. Our time is pressing, so Stephanie, do you have anything to add? I believe that each educator takes care of the kids and their children, and they cares much about the kids and the children. So I think this kind of original intention is very important. If we can uphold this original intention, and this will be helpful to promote positive education. As long as you are positive, and you can promote the positive education. So if Beishan positive education can bring this positivity to the teachers, and they are willing to impart this positivity or this positive mindset to students. And the foundation discovered some scenarios and to help schools. And those kind of scenarios are closely related to students. So sometimes I think some projects from the management to the grassroots. So I think sometimes the foundations projects are more practical, and they can provide the projects to meet the needs of the students. And today our theme is collaborative feature, partnerships driving change in the classroom. Some resources is targeting the features of the schools and the students. I think it's more important to the students than a degree obtaining. So I think this kind of professional development is practical. So I heard the keywords is hearts or original heart. Of course, it's not about the biological heart. It's about your intention. It's about the meaning of a positive education or the value of positive education. It's not about the activities or projects themselves. So this morning, we heard a lot about the teacher's identity. We often say that we are professionals. So other than the skills and the techniques, we should pay more attention to our hearts, to our intention as a teacher's identity. So those are my thoughts during the discussion. It's almost the time for our sharing. And now we will open the floor to QA. I think this question is from the front line. And the question is about the project size. Sometimes the size is relatively small and the participants are not big. So whether a foundation will have bigger projects and to benefit more people. And teachers will answer the question. Peter? I think it's true. Ms. Tong said foundation has resources, but compared with the need of the society, those resources are limited. Therefore, and how do we create more meaningful projects? It's not about the full coverage or the size of the projects. So, in terms of selection of the partners, and at present, we have 2 schools here. I think if it's an experiment and we have to carry on this experiment well, the results of the experiment is not our target. And the results is not about the coverage or the full coverage to other communities, but the essence of the success. And we can abstract or extract the essence of the results and to train our teachers in the future and let the teacher grow and use those essence or those knowledge in their daily life. So, with respect to foundations, on one hand, they provide resources to the projects, and on the other hand, and they can have more people to apply those essence of the knowledge. Of course, we wanted to influence policy makers, but it needs time. And actually, we are not only from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. Actually, we have different layers. The bottom is the school, and the second is the funders. And the funders, they also need exchange and sharing. And in addition, we also need research and tell the policy makers what happens in the schools. And we will have new policies in education. And we are concentrating on some projects, but those concentrated projects will have their own influence. Yeah, so it's just like a template, and based on those templates, and we will create our influence and enlarge those influence. What about Yidan? Yes, in our foundation, we always discuss about whether we will have the small and the beautiful, or we will enlarge our scope and the size. And actually, the 2 things are not mutually exclusive, and it's about organizing our foundation resources. And to let people know more about positive education. And even it's, for example, some people, if they want to return or want to give back to the schools or to the overall system, and how do we assist and support them? And those are all the questions we have to consider. So from the schools and the third parties collaboration, we enhance our capabilities all the way. Do you know Hong Kong Positive Education Network? And this is the website we built 4 years ago. There are teacher capacity building programs and the primary school course. And from the first school, the pioneering school, and to more schools. So based on those experience, we want to organize differently and to support more schools. But I agree, the bottleneck is talent. If we can attract more talents with the same mission in our foundation, and we can provide more services. And in terms of vision, we also hope that one day we can influence policy. And Edward said, McKinsey said, our foundation is a system buffer. It's okay for us to be buffer, but we still want to make some changes in the core of the overall system. Okay, I have two questions for our two teachers. And the first one is to Stephanie. How do you adjust yourself if you encountered this negative mindset and to uphold the positive education? I think it's hard. It's a lifelong effort. And you know that recent years, many students encountered the emotional issues. I remembered Form 6 students faced a lot of difficulties, and he faced depression. At the beginning, I don't know how to deal with it, but what I learned from positive education is that I have to take care of myself. So I used the things from positive education and to help him. First, and I have to guarantee that I'm okay, and then I accompanied him. I remembered that year, and the students said, Sorry, miss, I cannot insist, and I cannot bear it anymore. Please send me to hospital. But I was responsible for an activity that day. I told the management I have to send the students to hospital, but how to manage the activity. And the management told me, you just send the student to hospital first. This is the first priority, because student is always on the top of all the priorities. Okay, a last question is to Brian. The question is about the difficulties of schools in promoting the projects, and how do you overcome those difficulties? What's the biggest difficulty in order to promote a program? The critical part is the talent selection in the program. As a management, we have to see the strengths of the colleagues and their limits as well. Because in different stage of life, and they have different difficulties and needs. For example, for the young colleagues, they are full of energy. We should provide the stage or platform for them to show their talents. And for some colleagues, we need to arrange colleagues to form a supporting team. And we also need some people to gain their feedbacks from the students. So we have to know the real need of the students in this time. And it's not about the speed. It's not about the execution of the program. We have to consider about the effect of the program and the results of the program, and discover the students first and then match the people. Last but not least, we need the platform. The platform is for the mutual size. Mutual size mean a teacher and the students. And we think our school is a kind of platform and a stage for students and the teachers. And we need to manage the expectation. We also need to encourage the students, and the teachers were very busy, and they are able to take care of the students. And we think we need to encourage those students and their teachers for their performance. Thank you, Yidan Prize, for this platform for us to discuss those critical issues, and we hope to attract more people to work with us together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our
final panel. This is a very interesting discussion, and we heard heartfelt sharing. Thank you once again for panel 4.